Imagine being in a place where everything is taken away: your home, your family, even your clothes. This was Viktor Frankl's life during World War II. Born in Vienna in 1905, Frankl was a doctor who helped people feel better. But when the Nazis took over, he and his family were sent to concentration camps like Auschwitz. Frankl lost his parents, brother, and wife in the camps. He had to work hard, was very hungry, and saw terrible things. But even in such a scary place, he noticed something surprising. People who had reasons to keep going, like thinking of loved ones, were more likely to survive. Frankl himself held on to memories of his wife and wrote a book in his mind. He realized that even when you can't control what happens to you, you can still choose how you react. He said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our attitude." For example, he chose to help others in the camps instead of giving up. After the war, Frankl wrote Man's Search for Meaning, a book about his time in the camps and how people can find purpose even in suffering. He taught that kindness, helping others, and finding meaning are keys to staying strong. Frankl's story shows that hope isn't lost, even in the worst times. By choosing to care for others and finding reasons to keep going, we can stay human, no matter what. His ideas remind us that kindness is a choice, and that's the greatest power of all. Cruelty has quietly spread through society, creating deep divisions and suffering. Racial inequality remains despite years of progress, economic gaps separate communities, and political conflicts turn people against each other. Social media makes this worse, reducing complex human experiences into harsh debates where empathy is often lost. Instead of understanding each other, people rush to judge, making kindness seem less valuable. This constant exposure to cruelty has serious psychological effects. Many, especially those in healthcare, education, and social work, suffer from compassion fatigue, a state where they become emotionally drained and struggle to empathize. Daily news of suffering, wars, and injustice can make people feel numb, forcing them to build emotional walls for self-protection. Over time, these barriers prevent true human connection, making society feel colder and more disconnected. A major reason for this loss of kindness is the mistaken belief that vulnerability is weakness. Many fear being taken advantage of or appearing too soft, so they hide behind emotional walls. However, true strength lies in staying compassionate, even in a harsh world. Viktor Frankl suggested, maintaining our humanity in difficult times is what makes us truly resilient. Instead of letting fear control us, embracing kindness can be the key to healing and reconnecting with others. Before World War II changed his life forever, Viktor Frankl was a young psychiatrist in Vienna, developing a new way to understand human psychology. But his greatest lessons came from the unimaginable suffering of the Nazi concentration camps. As a Jewish prisoner, he lost everything: his family, his career, and his freedom. Yet, in the darkest conditions, he discovered a powerful truth. While we cannot always control our circumstances, we can control how we respond to them. In Auschwitz, Frankl observed how people reacted to extreme suffering. Some lost all hope, while others found ways to hold on to dignity and purpose. These observations led him to develop logotherapy, a psychological approach centered on the idea that meaning, not pleasure or power, is the main driving force in human life. He saw that prisoners who had a future goal, such as seeing their loved ones again or completing important work, were more likely to survive. At the heart of logotherapy is a simple but life-changing idea. Between any event and our reaction, there is a moment where we can choose our response. No matter the situation, we have the freedom to decide our attitude. Frankl famously wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." This idea turns suffering into an opportunity for growth, proving that even in the worst conditions, finding meaning can help us endure and thrive. Even in the most dehumanizing environment, the power of human compassion remained. In Auschwitz, where prisoners were reduced to numbers and stripped of their identities, Viktor Frankl saw a quiet but powerful resistance. People choosing dignity through their attitude. Prisoners secretly shared tiny pieces of bread, offered comforting words, and created emotional support networks. These small acts of kindness were not just gestures of goodwill, but acts of defiance, proving that even in a system designed to crush humanity, compassion could not be destroyed. Frankl realized that suffering itself was not the greatest enemy; meaninglessness was. He observed that those who found a deeper purpose in their suffering, whether it was the hope of reuniting with loved ones, sharing their testimony, or completing unfinished work, showed remarkable resilience. When pain is connected to meaning, it becomes more bearable and even transformative. Instead of simply enduring hardship, people could find purpose within it, turning victimhood into a choice rather than a fate. This idea challenged traditional views on strength. While philosophers like Nietzsche believed power came from domination, Frankl proposed a different kind of strength, the power of compassion and choice. True resilience, he argued, lies in the ability to rise above circumstances and respond with dignity. Kindness in such moments is not weakness, but the ultimate form of strength, a statement that says, "You can control my body, but not my spirit or my ability to choose my response." Applying Viktor Frankl's philosophy in daily life requires a change in how we see our experiences. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we should ask, "What is life asking of me right now?" This shift helps us move from feeling like helpless victims to taking an active role in our own story. When we face challenges, rejection, or pain, we can choose our response. Every difficult moment becomes a chance to practice our greatest freedom, the ability to control our attitude. Kindness is not about big, dramatic actions, but small, intentional gestures of compassion. Truly listening to someone without judgment, simply being present, is a rare and powerful act in today's noisy world. Practicing gratitude helps us see what we have instead of focusing on what we lack. These small acts of kindness, like seeds planted in harsh conditions, prove that compassion can thrive anywhere if we make an effort to nurture it. Setting boundaries is not the opposite of kindness. It protects our ability to be compassionate. Frankl's idea of tragic optimism teaches us that we can acknowledge suffering while still holding on to hope. Empathy doesn't mean absorbing everyone's pain, but maintaining the strength to respond with understanding. By building meaningful connections, we create supportive communities that transform loneliness into solidarity, one act of kindness at a time. Some argue that kindness is unrealistic in a world full of cruelty, claiming that compassion is a luxury we cannot afford. But Viktor Frankl's life proves otherwise. In the harshest conditions where survival seemed impossible, he and others chose dignity, empathy, and connection. Their kindness was not weakness, it was a form of resistance. Even in a system designed to destroy humanity, they showed that compassion is not just a reaction to goodness, but a way to create it where none exists. The idea that people like Frankl are rare exceptions misunderstands human resilience. Research on post-traumatic growth shows that compassion is not an innate gift, but a skill anyone can develop. Studies reveal that those who endure trauma can gain deeper empathy, greater emotional flexibility, and a stronger sense of purpose. Everyday heroes, volunteers, healthcare workers, teachers in tough environments, and those helping marginalized communities prove that kindness is not limited to a few exceptional people. It is a natural human strength waiting to be awakened in all of us. Kindness is not just a gentle emotion, it is a powerful act of resistance. Viktor Frankl's life teaches us that cruelty thrives when life feels meaningless, but compassion grows when we choose purpose over pain. Our ability to be kind is not controlled by our circumstances, but by our choice in the crucial moment between an event and our response. In that space, we have the power to choose humanity. The challenge is simple but life-changing. Commit to one intentional act of kindness this week, whether it's truly listening to someone, standing up for those without a voice, or offering forgiveness where it seems impossible. We honor Frankl's message. As he reminded us, the world is in a bad state, but everything will become still worse unless each of us does his best. Even the smallest acts of kindness can create a ripple effect, helping to rebuild human connection one moment at a time.